Hi, everyone. Um, I wanted to just take a moment and film something about imposter syndrome, which I know is, put up all over social media. And so it's not something I think that most people are totally unfamiliar with, but does have a unique manifestation among people of color, especially if you're first generation and you're in an academic community or you're trying to apply to get into kind of that next step of your academic career. I wanted to make this video because I think it's something that we, from all walks of life, experience at some point or another. And I tend to think that people have been able to kind of understand the concept and internalize it a bit, but I think that it's important for us to not expect that everyone has kind of gotten over that hurdle. I certainly myself have not. So I am off of a call with one of the smartest, most talented Latinas I know. And I know that she is going through this right now. And I always forget to silence my phone. I don't know why I do that in videos. But yeah, so this happened yesterday, and it prompted me to share a couple of stories of my own about imposter syndrome that I'm going to share with you really briefly. But I also wanted to call your attention to this lesser known phenomenon that I think we don't talk about enough in conjunction with imposter syndrome. So that is this idea that you wouldn't be in this situation unless you were pretty phenomenal, right? When we're talking about imposter syndrome in academia, you usually have to have achieved pretty consistently for like a decade in order to be where you are. But there's kind of the lesser known phenomenon of when you win, you keep winning. So you start to progress in academia when you've been granted funding or publications. I mean, you're granted them, but you earn them, right? But you start getting all of these little wins that accumulate and really convince you that you're on the right track and you're getting positive feedback and you deserve to be there. And then the first time things start to go south, you start to really question your place in the scheme of things and whether or not all of the other things that had been positive were flukes, right? The problem is I think this is what we're not actually adding to that conversation. And I did meet with an advisor at Charles Drew named Roberto Vargas, who's an amazing guy. And what he told me is you should expect to win about 30% of the time. When you get to the higher levels, there's so much competition and everything is zero sum. So if you're winning more than 30% of the time, you are one of the best in the world, right? And so I think us kind of getting set up to expect a win really complicates this whole imposter syndrome issue. So I want to share with you an article that I wrote, and this isn't a Zoom meeting, so I guess I'm not able to actually share screens, but I created this article on my LinkedIn profile that's called When the Golden Goose Lays a Lead Egg, Seeing Past Rejection and Learning from Reviewers. And this was really about expecting to fail sometimes because that's a normal part of the process, and somehow absorbing and learning from that failure instead of having it completely reset your mentality back to this, I don't belong here. At some point, someone's going to bust in and say like, hey, how'd you get in here, and kick me out, right? As I was sharing with this person yesterday who contacted me, I have always felt like I barely deserved to be where I was. Like I'm here because of like ganas and like working hard, and I'm like a hustler. I always tell people I'm doing everything, every opportunity, I'm going after it, and that's how I'm here. But that's clearly not true, right? Because I know a lot of people who work very hard, who haven't had the combination of kind of luck and hard work and also talent that I have. Otherwise, I wouldn't be here. It's really hard to believe that the talent is a part of that equation. And it's much easier for me to believe that like my dad, who was a truck driver and worked really hard every day of his short life, that his ability to take care of us was directly linked to his willing to come home drenched in sweat, right? So I really believe that hard work gets you there. But again, lots of people work hard. and they still don't make it to like the higher levels of academia. So there's something else going on. So what I told her was that I've worked really hard most of my life, always felt like I didn't deserve to be there. But then for my this grant that I submitted recently, you have to tell them your GPA, kind of going all the way back. And actually for the postdoc that I'm in right now, they wanted GPA from high school. They wanted all of my undergraduate transcripts, graduate, like master's program transcripts from my PhD, all the way. And when I looked at my cumulative GPA across all of those years, it was like 3.75. And like, that's a pretty good GPA, right? And I was pretty shocked because in my mind, I was thinking, man, I really struggled and was a low performer. When in reality, I was actually pretty close to almost all A's across all of my classes. And for some reason, that never sunk in, ever. So if you know me, and you probably do if you're bothering to watch my videos, you know that that I am a hustler. I do work hard. I do go after every single opportunity. I'm a Latina in a space with not a lot of Latinas, and I'm light-skinned, and I can pass for white, which obviously, because we have a very structurally racist society, plays in my favor, right? That's a very big part of it too. But there's clearly got to be something else that is that talent or is that intelligence, frankly, an ability to be here that mixes with that hard work. And I'm increasingly doubting less and less whether or not I deserve to be anywhere. And I'm starting to feel more and more like if I enter an environment and it doesn't seem positive and it doesn't seem like it's rewarding and appreciating what I'm bringing to their situation, then it's not that there's anything wrong with Adrienne. It's that maybe that's not the right place for me. And the more educated you are, the better you do, the more you have options. And in academia, there's a ton of different options. And I think we need to get away from this place where it's hierarchical and you've got these like R1 top research universities up here, and then you've got the community colleges down here and kind of everything in between, which I think is really unfair and untrue. Some of the very best education, some of the best training that I ever received was when I took classes in community colleges. And I've been to some pretty impressive universities. And I've certainly been in classes at Berkeley where the teacher was completely unconcerned with teaching us. And it was something they were being forced to do so that they could pursue their research, right? So I'm no longer subscribing to that narrative that this hierarchy matters. And I'm really going to a place where I need to be, where people are going to understand and recognize Adrienne's talents and not only use those talents, but push those talents so that they grow. And that challenge kind of allows me to understand more of what it is that I'm capable of, right? And so I would encourage you, if you're feeling some of this kind of weird imposter syndrome stuff, read up on it, learn kind of what it is, but also take a little bit of time to examine within yourself, how is that playing out for me as a person in this specific scenario that I'm in? Because as you'll see in the article that I submitted to LinkedIn, I was the only Latina doing a PhD at the time, and I could do no wrong because the school was really trying to be diverse and supportive of diversity. If there was a scholarship, I got it, right? I mean, I had so many things not necessarily handed to me, but the odds of me getting them were much greater than would ever occur in any other scenario. And it really changed my mind into thinking that I deserved those things. When the world is a big place and there's a lot of very talented, smart people out there. And again, it's for the most part a zero-sum game in research. So it is a competitive world. So anyway, I hope you all take that kind of with the best of intentions that I have. I really think that there's room for all of us here. It's competitive, but we all bring something unique and special to our understanding of the world. And I would love it if we had a real diversity of voices added to the literature so that we have a better picture of what's actually going on, so we could actually move forward and promote real health equity. So anyway, thank you again for listening. I really enjoy my time with this research collective, and I just am wishing you all well. Have a good day.